Well, hello, everybody. It's about 11:30 Friday. The rain let up. I was just building up this. So again, this is the progress that I had started making on my creek last night, and then I was working on this morning before the rain started. And as you can see, I laid down 2 rows of the sod that I've been digging up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this clay, my free building material, and I'm not going to start building up from the base because, as you can see, my initial outlet for my bottom drain is a little bit sketch. So I'm going to wait until right about here to start building up my clay base. And it's going to have to, the reason why I have to build it up is so that it will decline and flow on its own. I don't know if I'm going to make this channel here any bigger or not, because as you can see, it's not huge, but I do believe I am going to not just be laying down strips of pond liner, but also some weed cloth. And so even though that area will be like a sunken in area that is going to also be filled with rocks, I'm going to fill the rocks like a little bit wider to just have it look nice, because I am also going for aesthetics here. Let's see. The rocks, it's going to cost me up a lot of money, so it's going to be getting piecemealed over a long period of time probably, because again, like in here, I just had 4 bags of pond rocks, and that's only as far as 4 bags of pond rocks go. Okay, and look at how little this pond is. I don't have to necessarily cover that whole liner immediately. I could also do things like, I'm trying to avoid pea gravel because this is a full port drain. And so the pea gravel will end up shooting out of the full port drain potentially. So I may do some river rock instead of just the pond rocks to just kind of get, because I'll be able to spread those out thinner along the bottom of this to just give it a little bit of UV protection. So anyhow, this is going to kind of be meandering. I'm looking at kind of the slope. Even though I kind of wanted some aesthetic curving, I kind of also just tried to follow the lay of the land so that I wasn't going to be fighting with the dips on my property. And it looks to me like there's a possibility that I'm going to have water naturally trying to collect right in this little dip here. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of pond liner and I'm going to dig it out just a little bit more and create just a little drinking pool here before it gets down over there, because there's going to be days when my geese and my ducks are all going to be swimming in that, and they're just going to be going crazy. And so it's going to be a little intimidating for things like my chickens and rabbits to want to necessarily drink next to the ducks and the geese that are going crazy. So they're still going to have their water over there, but for the ones that want to hang out in this nice shady area under the tree, I'm going to maybe add a little watering pool right here that is going to mostly be filled with rocks, so it's not going to have much of an indent to it, but they'll be able to just get a little bit of water out of that. So anyways, I'm going to maybe try to drive to the store later if I feel like my brain inflammation has gone down enough that I'm not like too discombobulated to get in the car and do some driving. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know if I'm going to pick up some, I'm debating, because again, the chickens will kick up all the mulch. So I'm thinking that this area that is going to be my path to my little wood hatch, that where the wood gets thrown down into the basement, I'm thinking I am going to go ahead and do rock gravel on that so that it all doesn't just get kicked away. Even though mulch would be cheaper, it's not going to really have any staying power to it, because it's all going to end up just kicked everywhere, and then also kicked up into the water, which is something that I'm trying to avoid, having a whole bunch of mulch kicked up into the water there. So going to do rocks there as well, and then my fence, because I have just a little shorty fence that I put up to keep my geese and ducks and things like that out of the road. Now some of the chickens can jump, but the chickens generally don't go out into the road like the goose, who my old goose used to love to go out into the road and try to use it as like a flight strip to try to fly. It would start running down the road with its wings open trying to fly, and it was my suicidal goose, burdock. Okay, and then when we got the detour, I had all these cars down. So you are responsible for your animals. If your livestock go out on the road and it causes an accident, you are responsible for that. So I do not want any suicidal geese trying to use the road as a launch pad. So I have some fencing, and this is going to be my initial fenced paddock. So, you know, right there, kind of along the peach tree, I'm just going to have the fence right at the edge of that boundary. I'm just going to have the fence come straight out and then cut down over here, and then cut down the driveway, and then cut and fence off basically this area for them. And then I'll put like a little gate to let them in and out of this area. I may have to end up fencing this bed off. I'm not sure how that's going to go, but it's going to give me space to pull into the driveway without undoing the fence, because I used to have the fence right there because I used to let them go into the front yard over there. But what would happen is the roosters and the chickens would all end up congregating in my front patio on the front deck, pooping on the front deck, and the rooster would sit there knocking at the glass front door with his beak. Okay, he would knock at me and he would be like, oh, give us more feed, give us more feed. I'm just like, you lazy boy, I gave you food. You're supposed to be out foraging. But he would just be asking for more grains and stuff. Okay, so I don't want any roosters pooping and knocking on my front door. So I'm just gonna have just the watering area and then this fenced off for them, and it's gonna have plenty of shade. I'm gonna do the fencing. I'm not sure which side of the evergreens I'm gonna do it on, but I'm gonna build some housing structures under there for them so that when it rains, they still have a place. Different critters, I'm gonna build little housing structures so that different critters can have a little safe space to be, but I'm not gonna be having them sleeping out here at night unless I feel like they have a super secure situation. Now, because of the bunnies, instead of just having my short fence that comes up, I'm gonna have to get chicken wire and lay it all along the ground and clip it to the fence so that they don't dig themselves out and escape. So that's just kind of what I got going on so far today. You know, I got a little bit of tidying done, but it's kind of a mess because I still have a whole bunch of like things that I have to clean up, and then some of my lower drawers and things that got moused. I feel like I want to go back and get more clear totes, because the clear totes, it was like $10.50 for 4 small clear totes. And I feel like I want to just be keeping more of my stuff in those, you know, and then just making sure they dry out all the way before I put them away back into the clear totes. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Take it easy, y'all. Or not.